Hey you guys, it's Nay and I'm back again with another video. Okay, well anyways, as you guys can see, this is actually still my day 4. Still same attire. Although you can tell the sun is not shining. But yeah. Okay, so I just posted today the self-love and the self-love challenge. So, of course, I'm not just telling y'all to do this. This is also my process that I'm just giving y'all great insight on. So if you want to come along on the journey, then the seat is open. But yeah, so like I told y'all today, the question of what would someone who loves themselves do? I implemented this into my practice today for the first time. And OMG. That is all I have to say. As y'all can see, my shirt is wet because I was crying. Yes, Nay was crying. OMG. Okay, but anyway, so I asked myself the question, what would someone who loves themselves do? And of course, myself told me to do a root chakra meditation. Now, I know we haven't talked much about chakras, but chakras are vibrational points within your body, and their focus is for different things. Like the root chakra is basically your stability, your stable mind frame, or your stability with your emotions, like you're financially stable, things of that such. And Lord have mercy. Okay, I like to think of myself as not very emotional, but I guess when it's dealing with somebody that's like very near and dear to me, that I could like be emotionally inclined to do whatever type thing, and I never really wanted to acknowledge exactly where that streamed from, because I like to think that things don't bother me. That's how I like to perceive myself anyways, or that's how I like to make myself look when I'm presenting myself to someone else. Like I have a hard outer shell and nothing gets to me. Like I'm just unbothered. So yeah, I asked myself, what would someone who loves themselves do? And my flash of intuition told me root chakra. Even though I felt like I had literally just today worked on my root chakra earlier, but it was at a meditation frequency that wasn't necessarily made for root chakra. So I mean, I did get some benefit from it, but it wasn't like woo powerful like this one just was. Literally probably just like 20 minutes ago, I had to get myself together before I came back on the camera. Eyes would have been bloodshot red, puffy and stuff. I ain't want to look like that, but obviously my shirt ain't dry fast enough. But anywho, myself told myself to do a root chakra, so I looked up a quick 20-minute root chakra meditation, and one popped up. Well, it was a couple of them popped up actually, and then I was strolling through them, just looking at like the time frames. Even though it's a 20-minute root chakra meditation, like still someone was like 20 minutes and 13 seconds, or 20 minutes and such and such seconds. So I seen this one that popped out to me, and it said 2002. Now, I don't know if y'all real big with like angel numbers and things of that such, but me, I'm big with numbers and acknowledging things of that matter. So I looked up 2002. Hold on, let me get my other phone so I can tell you exactly what it said. One second. Okay, it says angel number 2002, number 2002 is made up of the energies of numbers 2 and the vibrations number of 0, both appearing twice, amplifying their influence. Angel number 2002 brings encouragement to maintain balance and harmony within and to pay attention to your emotions and intuitions. Now that was just wow to me, like beyond my nature, beyond my being, my 3D being anyways. That was the video that popped out to me, and the number stood out to me, which is the reason that I even decided to pick this video, and then to read what those numbers mean in angel number terms. And it says this message like, go with your intuition, you need some balance, show yourself love. Root chakra is about balance, stability. If that wasn't my higher self telling me, girl, if you don't do this dang on root chakra meditation, I'll kick you. And when I did it, just so many emotions came over me, and I'm not even gonna lie, I was just finna get in my mind, trying to think logic of it. I know exactly where it streamed from. Now, my mother had 3 kids. All of us have the same father. We share the same father. My mother and my father divorced and got separated when I was 2. So he didn't stick around too long. Like, there was a time when I was growing up, I want to say I was probably like 3 or 4, that I remember him staying in our basement. Like, my grandma, she got this big old brown house, like on the west side of Chicago, and like we literally all grew up there because it was like a family home. It had like 2 different apartments in it. It had down like the first floor and the second floor. So my mother and I, we stayed upstairs. My mother, myself, my brother, and my sister. We all stayed upstairs, and my grandma stayed on the main level. So that was a time when I was young that I can remember like walking into the basement and like him living in the basement. But I know it wasn't long, because like I want to say like maybe when I was like 4 or almost turning 4, like he had moved back to Mississippi, because that's where we originated from. Like that's where we came from. We all a lot of us, like my great grandmother had 17 kids. Not all 17 of them survived. I want to say a good 10 or 11 survived. I ain't doing the real math, like counting everybody right now, but that's about around how many of them survived. And all of them like came up here to Chicago, in the Chicago area or the Illinois area, and grew up here basically. So dang, I just lost my point. Okay, well, anyways, he had moved back to Mississippi, and he didn't play a very prevalent part in my life. And I was the youngest, so I was always like daddy's girl, like super big with being daddy's girl. Like, where's my dad, this, that, the third. Like, but of course, that's every young little girl, like their daddy's girl. And when he went away, it kind of impacted me, because I was young and I was always used to seeing him. Like, I didn't really acknowledge like the commotion that was going on within my life, because when you're young, you don't acknowledge anything wrong. But now that I'm older and come to the realization, like I know that home wasn't built on a foundation of pure happiness. Like, because my father has 9 or 10 kids, and like I said, my mom only got 3. So, and and he I need to just get out of my head and just say it. He just wasn't a perfect person. Like, he dealt with issues, he dealt with addictions, and I think my mother just got to the point where she just couldn't deal with it no more. Like, she couldn't deal with it. So she got to living for us. And like, me growing up as a child, I didn't experience that need to want for him, because my mother would like always shower us with things. She didn't want us to ever like cry about what she couldn't give us, basically. So I didn't really acknowledge him not being there, other than the fact of me asking like where he at. And then when I turned like 9 or something like that, I had moved to Mississippi with him for a year. And I had just acknowledged like how bad he had us living. But of course, like, I'm 9 years old, I don't realize that then. It's just like, I'm with my daddy, I want to be with my daddy. And he had us in places that no person should be, actually. I just say that. And I dealt with a lot of heartache from that, because he was still dealing with that part of his life. Like, he wasn't ready to let go of that part of his life. And I remember my grandma having to take care of me, like his mother having to take care of me. And like, it'll be times where I would have to go to school. Like, it'd be like days like Valentine's Day or something, you have to, like, the class had to bring things for the whole classroom type thing. And I would have to bring candy and stuff like that. So I called him like, Daddy, you gotta bring me candy. Like, I gotta bring candy for school tomorrow. Like, don't let me be the only kid in the classroom who ain't bringing no candy, Daddy. And he'll be like, okay, baby, I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. And me being me, like, I'm a daddy's girl, so he said he promised, like, he gonna do it, regardless of how many other times he didn't come through or when he said he was gonna come through. And I just remember this one morning, like, and I was crying because I was so sad. Like, it was the morning that I was supposed to bring the candy for the class, and he didn't even come home that night. And I was like in my grandma's lap, and I was crying. I was like, Grandma, like, why he do me like that? Like, why he ain't come home? Like, where he at? Like, dang, why he ain't bring me my candy and stuff like that? Like, I didn't understand how deep his need for something other than me was until that point. I'm sorry, because I'm starting to get all... I'm sorry, y'all. No. But I was just a girl who yearned for the loving of her father. And that's basically it. And I made a lot of bad decisions with like relationships, or people I choose to put my energy into, or people I choose to let take energy from me. Like, I showed that in the form of the people that I was allowed to use me, because at the end of the day, that's what it was. And I just tried to break away from that. Like, I tried to not think of that, even though in everyday reality, like, it was still showing itself. And I know, like, I never used to tell my mama nothing like that, because, like I say, like, my mama never wanted us to feel like we was going without. And like I said, I was young, so I never really acknowledged it anyways. And then I finally came back to Chicago. I'm sorry, I should have had some tissue or something if I knew I was going to be on here crying. Oh my God. But I had finally came back to Chicago the next school year. And my mother had ended up getting this real good job, because at first, like, she was working in a factory setting. And then she had ended up getting this job with a bank. And we had moved out to where west side of Chicago would call it the white neighborhood. We had moved out to Glendale Heights. And that was like predominantly like Asians and whites, like people who are financially well, they have a financial foundation, I should say. Like, because it wasn't too many people coming from the west side of Chicago just moving out to Naperville, moving out to Glendale Heights type area. So I got there, and then I got to acknowledge how much of a life like that I was missing out on. Because, you know, white families, I don't mean to sound like this if I sound any type of way, but just like white families are usually a family that stick together. Like, they all, I'm not going to say always, but a good percentage of the time, like, they have both parents in home. And it was this one time, and I remember, like, it was a father-daughter dance or something like that, where I had to bring my dad to school. And it was just like, I questioned it, but I tried not to let it bother me. But obviously it did, because like I said, all of my relationships turned out to be very, very bad. Very, very bad. Like, I've dealt with some things, you guys, some real things. I've lived through some real things that I won't get into today. But working on my root chakra today has definitely opened my eyes to me needing to love myself better. Me needing to love myself in a different manner. Because even though, like, I'm going through this journey with y'all, like, I didn't acknowledge how much, what's the word I want to say? I don't even know. I just didn't acknowledge how much turmoil, like, I was trying to cover up with blankets or whatever, like, whatever can put out a fire. Like, I don't know, but I just didn't acknowledge it until I asked myself today, what would someone who loves themselves do? And I came down to this realization. You got to do your work, you guys, for the betterment of self. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed my story time. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be back. Peace and love.